Hello, hello, hello. Different background. I came to see my parents today. Uh, wasn't supposed to be a day off, but kind of messed up yesterday. I ended up doing 5 videos, which got me excited. And basically, after I finished with the videos, I did a lot of the planning for the business, for the entry to market. All the stuff you kind of have to ask yourself that are in your head, but you have to write them down. And it's funny because I actually entered some form of flow yesterday, and what I did was I actively just started asking questions, and then more and more shit popped to the head. But today, something special happened, and other than the fact that I wrote 4 notes today, these are just today, by the way, just amazing because we're approaching 300 videos, man, and there's still some stuff that we could actually engage with. But on a video of mine, one hard hardcore basically. It's like a guy that actually subscribed and is fully interested and kind of like follows almost all the videos that I have. Mentioned something, and the minute he said it, something clicked in my head, which has been kind of like lying dormant. And it was the initiation of why I wanted to interact with society the way I want and how I wanted to how I think it's very valid to actually create to gamify it, to be able to interactively kind of create some form of platform that allows people to basically give and take when it comes to society as a whole, and for us to be able to get direct interaction from, or not interaction, get direct, what is it, feedback, to get direct feedback. And I'm going to read to you some of the things that he commented. And we're opening the video right now. And one of the comments was amazing because he discusses how plants want the sun, animals need food, and human beings basically created money. So today is going to be a deep dive on money the way I actually see it as a concept. And I'm going to go all the way back here. This sunshine for plants, food for animals, and man-made concept of money for us humans. Does the convergence point of simulation theory and the 7 hermetic laws and principles meet at luck/fate? And then he discusses how it's different from luck versus unlucky and suffering, and there's a difference, and he sees them differently because he explains it more. I would recommend definitely this video. It's gamifying society and how karma could be paying us with luck points. So, but let's start discussing the philosophy of money, and I will start with the history and how I believe money is the actual true form of how we communicate with each other. And so let's go back all the way back to the Stone Age. And there's this one guy, whatever you want to call him. There's guy A that has a family, guy B that has a family. Guy A goes, before we start the story, actually, what do you think came first? Cash transactions, debt, or credit? Out of these three that we engage with on a day-to-day basis, what do you think human beings created first? Now, pause this video, maybe answer, think about it, see if you can make sense out of it. But the reality is it's a lot simpler. The first came the credit system. Why is that? And think about it. 2 neighbors sitting next to each other. There's A and B. A goes to get fish, and B is a hunter. A comes one day with fish, and he goes like, "Oh my God, man, I got a big fish. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it." B looks at him, goes like, "I'm not gonna go hunt today since you got a fish. Tomorrow when I hunt, I'll bring meat and I'll give you meat." Fucking amazing. The barter system. We're exchanging value, right? And so ultimately, B gets meat, and 3, 4 neighbors have meat. So then A goes like, "I'm the only one who gets fish, so no fish," because more people eat meat, then more people would kind of want fish as a delicacy or something like this. And that could evolve into like why the value of fish could go up or the value of meat could go up in dry times. Sometimes the value of like the same fruit we buy in the summer is a lot more expensive in the winter because the timing is not, so the value of it and the necessity demand for it and all that good stuff. Put them to the side. A brings fish. B goes like, don't worry, man. Tomorrow I'm going to actually get some meat. I'll get meat and I'll give it to you, so you don't have to fish tomorrow. And A goes like, fuck yeah. He splits the fish in half, gives it to B. B feeds his family. What happens here? Credit. A credits B the fish. So then the other guy, the next day, as his duty, is to go and pay his debt. Exactly. He has to pay his debt by going to get the meat, splitting it with his neighbor A, because he was credited the fish the day before. But under the terms where people start defaulting on their debts, because I trusted you enough to give you a piece of fish, and the next day I was expecting meat. You don't give me the meat, which means the day I planned not to fish, I have to go and get fish. But that also means that the next time you say you want fish, don't worry, you'll give me meat. I'm not going to trust you. I'm going to want direct value for what I'm giving you. And how do you value fish? And it's funny because throughout the ages, we always found different things to prize as value, but they were not unanimously shared by cultures. Until when I think if it was the could be around the time of the like Greeks and Roman empires where when people started having a lot of land and they didn't know what to do basically because they have a lot of wheat, so they started assigning value to basically money, and they chose silver and they chose gold and they chose copper, they chose the minerals that you have to dig and that could be sustained for a long period of time, like gold does not rust. So they started figuring this kind of stuff out, and the beauty of that is how it expands. Through conquests and everything, gold became a standard. And then when they went to India, like the Greeks, and by the way, there's like a country or an area in between, like on the road to India, like if you look between Greece and India right now, there's a country that's kind of like a mix between the two. I forgot what it was called, but like it has like a very beautiful culture because back in the day, like the Greeks, Alexander the Great tried to like conquer Asia and all that good shit. But the traders started going with like stuff from Greece. And when they'll go to India, they see that gold is actually fairly cheap because if I'm trading 1 kilogram of like wheat, for example, for a coin in Greece, but I can get 3 coins in India. So what happens was on the other side of the world, India, they were like, oh, more people want this gold, so we dig more gold. And then eventually, like, because people are wanting more gold, gold becomes higher. And then they kind of like effectively agreed that there's a monetary value exchange, and gold becomes like the actual way for them to communicate. Like I'm going to communicate the value I'm getting from you based on based on the weight of gold that I have, and then vice versa. So ultimately, that started happening, and then the Roman Empire hit, and the Roman Empire was kind of cute because what they did out in their expansion, they started taking gold and mixing it with copper. And so effectively, gold started changing in color, changing in purity, technically losing its value. But what started happening was people started going like, I don't want this gold that looks brownish. I want this gold that looks more goldish. So there was the purity section of like money, and the value of gold started actually going up and down and kind of being like separated and digested and like improved upon and like regulated and noticed. Keep in mind that this is something that everyone kind of harmoniously start agreeing on. Like I want to get some wheat. Oh, to get some wheat, you need a bag of potatoes. A bag of potatoes is too heavy for me to carry to the market. So I'm going to sell my potatoes to somebody that wants them, get the gold, and then go get the wheat. Because sometimes you might take the bag of potatoes to the market, and the guy goes like, "I don't want potatoes today." Does that mean you're not going to get wheat? It's easier for us to meet halfway. So money basically came the balance of how we engage and how we interact with each other. And through that, we kind of like evolved into its usage, into labor, into how we kind of like we start valuing the separate parts of ourselves, into art, into like artisanal stuff, because Back in the day, olden times, man, people that were sitting at home and they probably had like, I don't know, like you're taking care of the house, they started thinking differently. Like, I want to be sitting on a better looking chair. I'm gonna use this instead of throwing it out. I'm gonna use it to make this table. Instead of this, I'm gonna design my house. And eventually, these concepts started creating value in other people's minds, especially people that saw them. And slowly, 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 it spread worldwide where all we're doing is, in order for me to communicate with you, notice the word communicate, to communicate with you and to show respect for your value, appreciation for your value, utility for your value, the best way to do that is money. Like, naturally, somebody can tap you on the back and be like, you did a good job, but you're going to look at them and be like, no, if I go to people and tell them I did a good job, will that feed me? No, I need to be properly reprimanded. No, reprimanded is like, being yelled at. I need to be compensated for the value that I created. And that's basically how society started evolving in a more structured way. Why? Because ultimately we stopped getting lost in the whole, he owes me, so he pays you, and you owe me, and you promised and you didn't promise. It became an easier transaction between people, especially people that don't really know each other. And that created the formulas of economies that we work on today. So step one, or this is the first video that explains the history of money and how we communicate using it.